an Afro-Korean dark romance. She found $2 million ring under a hotel bed. Her mother was dying. Her sister was starving. One decision could save them both. So Ebele Nwosu did the one thing that made no sense. She gave it back. That's when two brothers who owned everything made her their favorite game. One wanted to save her. One wanted to own her. Both were lying. This is what happens when doing the right thing puts you in the wrong hands. Hit like if messy billionaires and impossible choices are your thing. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. And tell me in the comments, would you have kept the ring? Chapter 1. The Choice. Ebele Nwosu's hands smelled like bleach and other people's lives. She'd cleaned the Imperial Hanul Hotel for 2 years. Late shift, floors 20 through 30, 6 days a week. The work was invisible. She preferred it that way. Invisible meant safe. Invisible meant nobody asked about your visa or why your Korean still sounded like you were translating from Igbo in your head. Room 2703 was a penthouse suite, empty since 9 a.m. checkout. Ebele knocked twice, protocol, then let herself in. Marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows. A bed big enough to sleep 5 people who'd never had to share anything in their lives. She worked methodically, stripped the sheets, cleaned the bathroom, vacuumed under furniture. That's when she saw it. Wedged behind the bed's left leg, as if it had rolled there and been forgotten. A ring. Not the cheap tourist kind. This was heavy. Platinum band, diamond the size of a knuckle, surrounded by smaller stones that caught the light like they were trying to call attention to themselves. Ebele picked it up with her gloved hand. Her phone buzzed in her apron. A voice note from her sister, Chidinma. 12 seconds long. Ebele almost didn't play it. Chidinma only sent voice notes when things were bad. She pressed play. Sister. Mama collapsed again. They're saying her kidneys are failing faster than they thought. If we don't pay for dialysis by Friday, they'll discharge her. The bill is 2.3 million. I don't know what to do anymore. The message ended. Ebele stared at the ring in her palm. Friday was 2 days away. 2.3 million naira was roughly 4 million won, maybe a little more. She sent 70% of her salary home every month, and still it was never enough. The debt didn't shrink. It mutated, grew new limbs. But this ring could end it. She walked to the window. Seoul stretched below, indifferent and glittering. 17 million people. What was one missing ring? No cameras in this corner. She'd checked when she entered. Habit from training. She could slip it into her apron, finish her shift, find a buyer in Itaewon by tomorrow night. The black market didn't ask questions if you knew who to ask. Her mother could live. Chidinma could stop carrying weight that was breaking her spine. Ebele could stop waking up at 4 a.m. to scrub toilets for people who'd never learn her name. She closed her fist around the ring. Her mother's voice surfaced, unbidden. From years ago, back when her hands were still strong enough to braid hair and cook jollof rice that made neighbors knock on their door. Ebele, you are my first daughter. The world will test you by giving you what is not yours and calling it mercy. Do not be fooled. What you take when no one is watching, that is who you are. Ebele's chest tightened. She looked at the ring one more time. Then she walked out of the suite and took the service elevator down to the lobby. Chapter 2. The Hunters. The front desk receptionist's name tag said, Eugene. Her smile was polished, rehearsed. designed to reassure rich people that their money was in good hands. When Ebele approached, the smile flickered. Yes? Yujin asked in Korean, the single syllable loaded with, Why are you here? Ebele placed the ring on the marble counter. I found this in suite 2703, under the bed. Yujin stared. Her face cycled through confusion, suspicion, then something close to fear. You found this? Yes. And you're returning it? Yes. Yujin picked up the phone without breaking eye contact, like Ebele might vanish if she looked away. She spoke rapid Korean into the receiver, too fast for Ebele to catch most of it, but she heard security, Ani Suite 2703, and On, the maid. Two men in suits appeared within 90 seconds. Miss Nwosu, the older one said in English. His name tag read, Kim Tae-soo, security manager. Please come with us. Ebele's stomach dropped, but she followed. They led her to a windowless room on the second floor. Gray walls, metal table, 2 chairs, the kind of room designed to make you confess to things you didn't do. Manager Kim sat across from her. The other guard stood by the door. You were the last person to enter suite 2703, Kim said. Yes. The guest checked out at 9:47 a.m. You entered at 11:03 a.m. No one accessed the room between those times. Ebele nodded. Kim pulled out a tablet, tapped it twice, then turned it toward her. The screen showed the ring, photographed from every angle, along with an ID number and a description in Korean and English. This ring, he said, is a Kang family heirloom, platinum, 8-carat center diamond, worth approximately 2.6 billion won. That's roughly 2.2 million US dollars. Ebele's mouth went dry. It also, Kim continued, contains a micro-location chip embedded in the band. All Kang family jewelry is tagged. We knew exactly where it was. Her heart stopped. You knew? We knew it was in the room, Kim clarified. We didn't know what you would do when you found it. Ebele's hands curled into fists under the table. This was a test. An observation, Kim corrected. We observe everyone, but most people fail before we finish watching. What happens if they fail? Termination, deportation if applicable, blacklisting in the hospitality industry. Ebele forced herself to breathe. Why would the Kang family leave a $2 million ring in a hotel room just to test a maid? Kim's expression didn't change. That's a question for them. They've asked to meet you. Who? The owners of the ring. Chapter 3. The Wolves. The elevator to the penthouse suites moved so smoothly, Ebele couldn't tell if they were ascending or if the world was falling away beneath them. Manager Kim led her down a private hallway. The carpet absorbed sound. Original paintings lined the walls. Faces Ebele vaguely recognized from art history books she'd flipped through in university before dropping out to work. He stopped at a set of double doors, knocked once, and opened them. Inside was a living room that looked like it had been designed by someone who thought warmth was a character flaw. Black leather furniture, glass tables, windows overlooking the city like it was a possession. 2 men stood by the window, identical. Ebele's breath caught. Same height, same sharp jawline, same dark eyes, same expensive black suits. But they wore their identical faces differently. The man on the left stood like a soldier, spine straight, hands clasped behind his back. He looked at her the way a jeweler looks at a stone, evaluating cut, clarity, worth. The man on the right stood with his weight on one leg, hands in his pockets. He was smiling, but it was the kind of smile that made you wonder what he was really thinking. Miss Nwosu, Manager Kim said. "This is Kang Junmin, director of Kang Group, and Kang Junha, director of strategic development." Ebele bowed, too deeply, probably, but her body reverted to instinct when it didn't know what else to do. "Sit," Junmin said. It wasn't a request. She sat on the edge of the leather chair. It was cold even through her uniform. On the glass table between them sat the ring. Junmin remained standing. "You found our grandmother's ring." "Yes." "You were alone when you found it." "Yes." "How long did you hold it before returning it?" His voice was clinical, like he was conducting an audit. "Maybe 6 minutes." 6 minutes, he repeated. "Long enough to think about keeping it?" "Yes." "Long enough to realize no one would stop you?" "Yes." "But you returned it anyway." His eyes stayed locked on hers. "Why?" Ebele met his gaze. "Because it wasn't mine." "You know what it's worth," Junmin continued. "Manager Kim informed you. $2.2 million, enough to solve every financial problem you have." Her jaw tightened. "I know." "Your mother is in Lagos Memorial Hospital," he said. "Stage 4 kidney disease, dialysis 3 times a week. The outstanding bill is 2.3 million naira. Your sister, Chidinma, is 16, still in school. You send 68% of your salary home every month. Your rent here is 3 weeks overdue." Ebele's stomach turned cold. "How do you know that?" "We know everything about our employees," Junmin said, "especially the ones who touch our property." "Then you know," Ebele said quietly, "that I had every reason to steal that ring." "Which makes your honesty either exceptional," Junmin replied, "or idiotic." Junha laughed, short, sharp. "Hyung, you're terrifying her." "She's not terrified," Junmin said without looking at his brother. "She's angry." He was right. Ebele's hands trembled in her lap, not from fear, but from rage. They'd investigated her, dissected her life, turned her desperation into a spectator sport. "Miss Nwosu," Junha said, stepping forward. His voice was softer than his brother's, almost apologetic. "We're not trying to humiliate you. We're trying to understand you." "Why?" Ebele asked. "Because honesty is rare," Junha said. "And we need someone rare." Junmin walked to the window, hands still clasped behind his back. "You will no longer work in housekeeping." Ebele blinked. "You're firing me?" "Promoting you," Junmin corrected. "Starting Monday, you'll work directly for Kang Group as private household staff. Your visa will be transferred to an E9 worker permit, sponsored by our family office. Your salary will increase to 4 million won per month." Her heart stopped. "Your mother's outstanding medical bills," Junmin continued, "will be paid in full tomorrow. Consider it an advance on your first year's salary." Tears burned Ebele's eyes. "Why?" she whispered. Junmin turned to face her. "Because you chose honor over survival. That makes you either the most principled person I've ever met or the most foolish. Either way, you're valuable." Junha crouched so he was eye level with her. "Welcome to the Kang family, Ebele." She should have felt relief. Instead, she felt the walls closing in. Chapter 4. The Cage. The Kang estate was 23 acres of controlled nature. Manicured lawns, stone pathways lined with dwarf pines. The main house was a 4-story glass and steel structure that looked like it had been designed to intimidate mountains. Behind it, smaller buildings, guest houses, staff quarters, a gym, an indoor pool complex, a detached garage that housed 8 cars Ebele would never be allowed to touch. Her room was in the staff residence, a narrow building tucked behind the main house like an afterthought. But her room was twice the size of her old studio apartment in Itaewon. Private bathroom, a window overlooking the garden, a desk, a closet with more space than she'd ever had. On the desk was a stack of documents. The contract was 43 pages long, Korean on the left, English on the right. She read it 3 times. The key terms: salary, $4,000 KW month. Housing, provided on estate grounds. Medical advance. And to the 300,000, approximately 200,000 KRW, paid directly to Lagos Memorial Hospital. Minimum employment period: 2 years. Termination clause: if employment ends before 2 years, the medical advance must be repaid in full within 90 days. Visa sponsorship: tied to employment, termination. Requires departure from South Korea within 30 days, she signed. What choice did she have? Her mother's life for 2 years of her freedom. It was a trade she'd make every time. Her first week was disorienting. She wasn't cleaning rooms anymore. She was managing logistics for one of the wealthiest families in South Korea. Her direct supervisor was Madame Dahi, the head of household staff, a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair and eyes that saw everything. You will assist Director Kang Jun-min, Madame Dahi explained on her first day. Scheduling, correspondence, event coordination. You will also assist with family matters as needed. You do not ask questions. You do not repeat what you hear. You do not exist unless called upon. Understood, Ebele said. And Miss Nwosu, Madame Dahi added. The Kang family is not like the hotel. There are no shifts, no overtime, no days when you are truly off. You belong to them now. The words landed like stones in Ebele's stomach. Kang Jun-min treated her like an extension of his phone. Reschedule the 2 p.m. Confirm the Singapore investors. Prepare the Hanwha merger files. He never said, please. Never said, thank you. Never looked at her longer than it took to confirm she'd heard the instruction. But she noticed things. The way his jaw tightened when his father called. The way his hand curled into a fist when board members second-guessed him in meetings. The way his eyes followed her when she crossed the room. He watched her, the way a scientist watches a variable in an experiment. Curious, careful, waiting to see what she'd do next. Kang Junha was the opposite. He smiled when he saw her in hallways, asked her questions, remembered details. Ebele, right? He said one afternoon, finding her in the staff kitchen. She nearly dropped the teapot. Yes, sir? Junha, he corrected. You don't have to call me sir when no one's around. Madame Dahi said, Madame Dahi isn't here. He leaned against the counter. You settling in okay? Yes. Liar, he said, but he was grinning. I've seen your face during the morning briefings. You look like you're trying not to scream. She almost smiled. It's an adjustment. That's a diplomatic way to say my brother's an asshole. I didn't. You don't have to, Junha interrupted. I've known him my whole life. He treats people like chess pieces. Useful, disposable, replaceable. Ebele didn't respond. You're different, though, Junha said, studying her. You're the first person in this house who doesn't look at us and see money first. I see employers, Ebele said carefully. Same thing to most people. He tilted his head. Why'd you come to Korea? Work. Everyone works, he said. Why here? She hesitated. My father died when I was 19. Left debt. My mother got sick a year later. My sister was still in school, Korea was hiring. I applied. I got in. You sacrificed everything for them, he said quietly. That's what family does. He looked at her like she'd said something profound. Not in this house. From the window of his office overlooking the garden, Kang Junmin stood with a glass of whiskey, watching his brother talk to the woman who'd returned their grandmother's ring. His hand tightened around the glass. He'd known Junha would be drawn to her. That's why he'd hired her. Chapter 5. The Test. 3 weeks into her employment, Ebele was summoned to the main house dining room. It was 7 p.m. The family was gathered for dinner. At the head of the table sat Kang Ji-wook, the patriarch. 71 years old, silver hair, face carved from granite and old grudges. He spoke in commands, not sentences. Beside him sat Madame Seo Yeon-hee, the matriarch, elegant in a gray hanbok, wearing the ring Ebele had returned on her right hand. Junmin sat to his father's right, posture perfect, expression unreadable. Junha sat to his left, tie slightly loosened despite his mother's periodic glares. Ebele stood against the wall with 3 other staff members, hands folded, eyes lowered. There is news, Kang Ji-wook announced, setting down his chopsticks. The board has finalized the Hanwha merger negotiations. To secure the partnership, Junmin's engagement to Han Seo-jin will be formalized next month. Polite applause from the few extended family members present. Ebele's hands tightened behind her back. Seo-jin is suitable, Madame Seo added. Good family, good education. She understands discretion. Her gaze flickered toward the staff line for half a second. Furthermore, Kang Ji-wook continued, Assemblyman Park has agreed to the union between Junha and his daughter, Park Erin. The engagement will proceed in the spring. Junha's jaw tightened. Abeoji, I haven't agreed. This is not a negotiation, his father cut in. You are the second son. Your role is to be useful. The Parks have political connections we need. You will marry her. Madame Seo's voice was velvet over steel. You've had your freedom, Junha. It's time to contribute. Junha looked at his plate, said nothing. Ebele felt something crack in her chest. After dinner, she was clearing glassware when Junmin's voice stopped her. Miss Nwosu, my office, 10 minutes. His office was on the 3rd floor of the main house. Dark wood, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a desk that looked like it had been carved from a single piece of marble. Junmin stood by the window, hands in his pockets. Close the door, he said. She did. You heard the announcement, he continued without turning around. Yes, sir. What did you think? Ebele blinked. I'm not sure what you mean. You have opinions, he said. I've seen you. The way your face changes when you think no one's watching. She said nothing. He turned to face her. I'm asking what you thought of the engagement announcement. It's not my place to. I'm making it your place. His eyes locked on hers. Answer the question. Ebele exhaled slowly. I think your brother looked like a man being buried alive. Junmin's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. And me? He asked. You looked like you'd already accepted the grave. Do you know why I hired you? He asked. Because I returned the ring. No, he said. I hired you because you made a choice that didn't make sense. You chose principle over survival. That means you're either extraordinary or broken. He stepped closer. I need to know which. Why does it matter? Ebele asked. Because broken things are predictable, he replied. Extraordinary things are dangerous. She met his gaze. And which do you want me to be? Kang Junmin smiled. It was not a kind smile. I haven't decided yet, he said. You're dismissed. Ebele left the office with her heart pounding and the distinct feeling that she'd just been moved on a chessboard she couldn't see. Chapter 6. The Crack. Late that night, Ebele couldn't sleep. She stood on the small balcony outside her room, staring at the main house. Lights were still on in several windows. Her phone buzzed. A text from Chidinma. Sister, thank you. Mama started dialysis yesterday. The doctor says she's responding well. We can breathe again. Ebele closed her eyes. It was worth it. All of it. Couldn't sleep either? She spun. Junha stood at the bottom of the exterior stairs leading to the staff quarters, hands in his pockets, dressed in a hoodie and jeans instead of his usual suit. I'm sorry, Ebele said quickly. I didn't mean to disturb. You didn't. He climbed the stairs slowly. I was walking. Needed air. She nodded. He stopped a few feet away, leaning against the railing. You heard, he said. About the engagement. Yes. What did you think? She hesitated. I think it's not my business. Diplomatic. He smiled faintly. My brother probably likes that about you. Your brother doesn't like anything about me, Ebele said. I'm a tool, like a stapler. Junha laughed, short and bitter. Yeah, he's good at that, seeing people as functions. And you're not? Ebele asked. He looked at her. I try not to be. For a moment, neither spoke. Do you love her? Ebele asked quietly. Park Aron. I've met her twice, Junha said. Both times at dinners where we barely spoke. She's beautiful, smart, ambitious, and she looks at me like I'm a stock portfolio. So, no. So, no. He exhaled. But that's not how it works in families like mine. Love is a luxury. Marriage is a contract. That's bleak. That's reality. Ebele leaned on the railing beside him. Then why go through with it? Because refusing means losing everything, he said. My name, my inheritance, my place in the family, everything I've ever known. And keeping it means losing yourself, Ebele replied. He looked at her, something raw in his expression. You get it. I know what it's like to choose between two bad options, she said. That's all. Is that why you came here? Junha asked. Bad options? I came because my mother was dying and Korea was hiring, Ebele said. But you hate it, he guessed. I hate needing it, she corrected. He nodded slowly, looked out at the garden. If you could go anywhere, no debt, no obligations, where would it be? Ebele smiled faintly. Home, Lagos, even just for a week, to see my mother, my sister, to feel like myself again. Not Seoul? He asked. Seoul is beautiful, she said, but it's not mine. Junha was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I'd go with you. She looked at him, surprised. I'm serious, he continued. Somewhere no one knows my name, where I'm not the second son or the spare, just a person. You can't run from your name, Ebele said gently. Maybe not, he replied. But I can dream about it. The Coined. Chapter 7. The Engagement. The engagement gala was held at the Shilla Hotel. Ebele had been to the Shilla once before, to drop off documents for Junmin. She'd used the service entrance. Tonight, she entered through the front. Madame Dehi had provided her with a dress. Simple, black, elegant, but unmistakably staff. You will attend as Director Kong Junmin's personal assistant, she'd explained. Stay visible. Do not socialize. Leave when dismissed. The ballroom looked like a cathedral built to worship money. Crystal chandeliers, a string quartet playing Vivaldi in the corner, men in tuxedos, women in luxury gowns. Across the room, Junmin stood beside Han Seo-jin. Tall, willowy, perfect posture, perfect smile, perfect hair. She looked like she'd been designed in a lab to be a Chaebol wife. She was beautiful the way a diamond is beautiful. Cold and hard and expensive. Seo-jin whispered something to Junmin. He nodded without looking at her. She smiled tighter. On the opposite side of the ballroom, Junha stood with a weak Park A-rin. She was sharp-eyed, sharp-featured, sharp-tongued, beautiful, in the way a knife is beautiful. "Smile more!" A-rin hissed at him through her teeth. "The cameras are watching." Junha's smile didn't reach his eyes. "I am smiling. You look miserable." "That's because I am." Her eyes narrowed. "If you embarrass me tonight, you'll regret it." He said nothing, just drank his champagne. Then his gaze drifted across the ballroom and landed on Ebele. For a moment, their eyes met. She saw it, the exhaustion, the desperation, the silent scream of a man trapped in a life he hadn't chosen. She looked away first. An hour into the event, Ebele slipped onto the terrace. The noise of the party was muffled behind the glass doors. The city stretched below, glittering and indifferent. She leaned against the railing and closed her eyes. Escaping? She turned. Junha stood in the doorway, tie loosened, champagne glass in hand. "I needed air," she said. "Same." He walked over, leaning on the railing beside her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "You don't love her," Ebele said quietly. Junha laughed bitterly. "Love isn't part of the package." "Then why agree?" "Because saying no means losing everything," he replied. "And I'm a coward." "You're not a coward," Ebele said. "You're just trapped." "So are you," he pointed out. "I know." He looked at her. "What would you do? If you were me?" She thought about it. "I don't know. But I think I'd rather lose everything and be free than keep everything and lose myself." "Easy to say when you don't have everything to lose," Junha replied. "I've already lost everything," Ebele said. "That's why I'm here." He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "What if we didn't have to be trapped?" She frowned. "What do you mean?" "What if we left?" he said. "Both of us. I have money they don't know about. Accounts my father can't touch. I could get us out. New visas. A fresh start." Ebele's heart stopped. "Junha." "I know it sounds crazy," he interrupted. "But I've never been more serious. I can't marry A-rin. I can't spend the rest of my life pretending. And I don't want to watch you disappear into this family like everyone else." She stared at him. "You barely know me." "I know you're the first person who's looked at me and seen a person instead of a transaction," he said. "That's more than I've had in 32 years. She wanted to say no. She wanted to tell him it was impossible, that people like them didn't run away from debts and obligations and empires, but instead, she whispered, "Where would we go?" His eyes lit up with something fragile and dangerous. Hope. Chapter 8. The Plan. They met in secret over the next 2 weeks, never at the estate. Always in public places where staff and family mingled. Department stores, subway stations, busy coffee shops. Junha had a plan. "I've been moving assets for 6 months," he explained one afternoon in a Starbucks in Gangnam. "Selling art, liquidating stocks, converting everything to cryptocurrency and offshore accounts my father can't trace." "How much?" Ebele asked. Enough to disappear, he said. 12 billion won, maybe more. Her mind went blank. 12 billion won was roughly $10 million. Where would we go? She asked. Kuala Lumpur first, he said. Then maybe Accra, Lagos if you want, somewhere they won't think to look. Your family will hunt you, Ebele said. They'll try, he agreed. But I'll be legally untouchable. I'll have lawyers, contracts, proof that I renounced my inheritance. They can't force me back. And me? Ebele asked. I signed a contract. I owe them 2 years. Which you'll fulfill, Junha said. You'll give 90 days notice citing family emergency. By the time the 90 days are up, I'll already be gone. You meet me in Kuala Lumpur, and we start over. It sounded insane. It sounded impossible. It sounded like the first real choice Ebele had made in 2 years. When? She asked. I leave in 3 weeks, Junha said. You resign tomorrow. Ebele submitted her resignation letter the next morning. She handed it to Madame Dahi in the staff office. Family emergency, Ebele explained, her voice steady. My mother's condition has worsened. I need to return to Nigeria to care for her. Madame Dahi's expression was unreadable. I'll forward this to Director Kang Junmin. He oversees all staff contracts. Ebele's stomach dropped. Both directors? No, Madame Dahi said. Only Junmin handles personnel. 2 days later, Ebele was summoned to Junmin's office. He sat behind his desk, her resignation letter in front of him. Sit, he said. She sat. He read the letter slowly, deliberately. Then he set it down and looked at her. Your mother's condition has worsened, he said. Yes. Interesting, he replied. Because I spoke to Lagos Memorial Hospital this morning. According to her doctor, she's stable, responding well to treatment. Ebele's blood ran cold. You called my mother's hospital? I fund her care, Junmin said. I have access to her records. That's practical, he interrupted. So I'll ask again. Why are you really resigning? She met his eyes. Because I want to go home. Liar. I have the right. You have a contract, he cut in. 2 years minimum employment. If you terminate early, you repay the 5.2 million won medical advance in full. Her hands clenched in her lap. I'll pay it back. How? He asked. You have less than 2 million won in savings. Even if you stopped sending money home entirely, it would take you 4 years to repay. Then you'll stay, he finished. And you'll stop whatever plan my brother convinced you to join. Her breath caught. I don't know what you're talking about. Junmin stood, walked around the desk, and leaned against it directly in front of her. Ebele, he said, using her first name for the first time. I know about the offshore accounts, the cryptocurrency transfers, the apartment searches in Kuala Lumpur. She stared at him, horrified. You've been spying. I've been protecting my family, he corrected. My brother thinks he's in love with you. He thinks running away will save him, but all it will do is destroy both of you. That's not true. Even if it is, that's not your decision, Ebele said, voice shaking. It is when you're both under my roof. His eyes were cold. Do you know what happens if Junha disappears? My father will assume he was kidnapped, coerced. He'll send investigators, private security. They'll find you within a week. And when they do, you'll be deported, blacklisted, and prosecuted for conspiracy to commit fraud. I haven't done anything illegal. You signed a contract under false pretenses. Junmin interrupted. You're planning to breach it, And you're helping my brother steal family assets. That's fraud, theft, breach of trust. He leaned closer. I could have you arrested tonight. Tears burned her eyes. Then why haven't you? He studied her face for a long moment. Because you're not a criminal, he said quietly. You're desperate, and my brother is using that desperation to justify his cowardice. He's not a coward. He's running away from an arranged marriage like it's a death sentence, Junmin said. Meanwhile, you're trapped in a contract that could ruin your family if you break it. He loses nothing. You lose everything, and he's convinced you it's romantic. Ebele's chest tightened because part of her knew he was right. What do you want from me? She whispered. Junmin straightened. I want you to stay. Fulfill your contract. Let my brother make his own choices without dragging you into the wreckage. And if I refuse, then I'll enforce the contract, he said. Your mother's treatment stops, your sister's school fees stop, and you'll spend the next 4 years working 3 jobs to repay a debt that will follow you for the rest of your life. She stood on shaking legs. You're a monster. I'm a realist, he replied. And the reality is that my brother's fantasy would destroy you. I'm saving you from yourself. By trapping me. By giving you a future. He corrected. Your resignation is denied. You will continue your employment as contracted, and you will not contact my brother outside of professional duties. You can't. I can, he said. And I will. Dismissed. Ebele walked to the door, hand on the handle. Ebele, he called. She stopped but didn't turn. One day, he said, you'll understand I did this for you. She left without responding. Chapter 9. The Breaking. Ebele found Junha in the estate library that night. He was pacing, phone in hand, expression frantic. He knows, she said. Junha spun. What? Your brother. He knows everything. The accounts, Kuala Lumpur, the plan. He denied my resignation. He threatened to... Her voice broke. He's going to destroy me if I leave. Junha's face went white. That son of a... He said you're using me, Ebele continued. That I'll lose everything and you'll lose nothing. That's not true, isn't it? She stepped closer. Junha, if we run and they find us, what happens to you? Your father disowns you. You lose your inheritance, but you still have 12 billion won. You'll be fine. And you? He asked. I get deported, she said. My mother loses her treatment. My sister drops out of school, and I spend the rest of my life repaying a debt I can't afford. Junha grabbed her hands. I won't let that happen. You can't stop it, Ebele said. Your brother is right. This isn't romance. It's you running from your life and taking me with you. I'm not using you. Then tell me, she interrupted. If I said no right now, if I said I'm staying, would you still leave? He hesitated, and in that hesitation, Ebele saw the truth. You wouldn't, she whispered. Because you're not running to something. You're running from something. And you need me as an excuse. That's not fair. It's the truth, she said. Let me pretend for a second and call your act romance. You don't love me, Junha. You love the idea of me. The girl who chose principle over survival. The girl who's trapped like you. But I'm not your escape plan. Tears streamed down her face. I have to stay, she said. Because if I don't, my mother dies, and I can't carry that. Junha's face crumpled. Ebele, I'm sorry, she whispered. She pulled her hands from his and walked out of the library. Behind her, she heard something crash. A book, maybe, or a glass. She didn't look back. Chapter 10. The Cage Tightens. Junha disappeared 2 weeks later. Not to Kuala Lumpur, not to Lagos, to a private facility in Jeju Island that the Kang family owned. Officially, a wellness retreat. Unofficially, a place where inconvenient family members were sent to be re-educated. He was there for 6 weeks. When he returned, he was different, quieter, hollow. His smiles were gone, his eyes were empty, and he didn't speak to Ebele, didn't look at her. It was like she'd ceased to exist. She learned from staff gossip that his father had given him an ultimatum: marry Park A-rin within 3 months or be removed from the family registry entirely, legally disowned, erased, as if he'd never existed. He chose the marriage. The wedding was held on a Saturday in May. 600 guests, a cathedral in Gangnam, reception at the Lotte Hotel. Park A-rin wore a custom Vera Wang gown. Junha wore a tuxedo and the expression of a man who'd stopped fighting. Ebele watched from the staff section, heart breaking with every vow. When it was over, the newlyweds walked down the aisle together. Junha passed within 3 feet of where Ebele stood. He didn't look at her. The man who'd wanted to run away with her was gone. In his place was just another heir. 6 months later, Kang Junmin became CEO of Kang Group. His engagement to Han Seo-jin had quietly dissolved. She'd been caught in an affair with a board member, and Junmin had leveraged it to end the arrangement without scandal. He didn't replace her. Marriage is a distraction, he told his father during a tense dinner Ebele overheard while serving tea. The company needs my full attention. His father hadn't argued, but Junmin kept Ebele close. She was promoted from household staff to executive assistant, managing his schedule, correspondence, travel, meetings. She was present for board negotiations, investor calls, private dinners with politicians. She was always there, and he watched her. Not the way his brother had, desperately, hungrily, like she was salvation. Junmin watched her the way a curator watches a painting. Appreciating, possessing, never quite touching, but always present. One evening, 14 months into her contract, they were alone in his office. It was past midnight. Everyone else had gone home. They were preparing documents for a merger meeting in Singapore. "Stay," Junmin said suddenly. Ebele looked up from the contract she was reviewing. "It's late. I should—" "Not tonight," he interrupted. "After your contract ends, stay." Her heart stopped. "I'm offering you a new position," he continued. "Senior executive assistant, permanent E7 visa sponsorship, 8 million won per month, full benefits, your family's medical care fully covered for life." She stared at him. "Why?" she whispered. "Because you're the best assistant I've ever had," he said. "You're efficient, discreet, intelligent. You anticipate needs before I articulate them." "That's not why," Ebele said. He leaned back in his chair, studying her. "Then why do you think?" "Because you want to keep me here," she said. "Like a possession." His jaw tightened. "I'm offering you security, stability, a life most people only dream of." "A life you control," Ebele replied. "Is that so terrible?" he asked. "You'd never have to worry about money again. Your mother would have the best care, available. Your sister could study anywhere in the world. You'd have power, protection, access. But not freedom," she said. "Freedom is overrated," Junmin replied. "I'm offering you something better. Certainty." Ebele stood, hands shaking. "What if I say no?" "Then you fulfill the remaining 6 months of your contract and leave?" he said. But your mother's care ends the day your contract does. Your sister's school fees stop, and you return to Lagos with nothing except the money you've saved, which won't last 6 months. So it's not really an offer, Ebele said. It's a threat. It's reality, he corrected. You can accept it and thrive or reject it and survive. Your choice. She looked at him. This man who'd saved her mother, paid her sister's school fees, given her a life she'd never imagined. This man who'd also trapped her, manipulated her, destroyed her one chance at escape. I need time to think, she said. You have until your contract ends, he replied. 6 months. She walked toward the door. Ebele, he called. She stopped. You think I'm a monster, he said quietly. But I'm the only reason you're not scrubbing hotel floors at 4 a.m. right now. Remember that. She left without responding. Chapter 11. The Choice. Ebele spent the next 3 months in a fog. She did her job, managed schedules, coordinated meetings, smiled when required. But every night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, calculating. If she left, her mother would lose treatment within weeks. Chidinma would have to drop out of school. She'd return to Lagos with maybe 3 million won in savings. Enough to survive for 4 months, maybe 5, if she was careful. She'd have to find work immediately, probably back in housekeeping or worse. Her mother would die if she stayed. Her mother would live. Chidinma could finish university. She'd have security, money, stability. She'd be trapped in Junmin's orbit forever. She'd never be free. It wasn't a choice. It was Sophie's choice, wearing a designer suit. 4 months into her deliberation, something changed. Chidinma called. Sister, I have news. Ebele's stomach dropped. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, Chidinma said, laughing. I got accepted to nursing school, full scholarship. They're even covering housing. Ebele's breath caught. Chi, that's incredible. It's because of you, Chidinma interrupted. Everything you've sacrificed. I'm going to finish, sister, and then I'm going to take care of Mama. You won't have to carry us anymore. Tears streamed down Ebele's face. How long until you finish? She asked. 3 years, Chidinma said. But I can work part-time once I'm in clinic rotations. We'll manage, together. 3 years. Ebele looked at her calendar. 6 months left on her contract. If she extended for 2.5 more years, Chidinma would graduate, would be able to work, would be able to help support their mother. And then Ebele could leave. It wasn't freedom now, but it was freedom eventually. She could survive 2.5 more years. She had to. 5 months into her contract, Junmin called her into his office. Have you made your decision? He asked. I'll stay, Ebele said. But I have conditions. His eyebrow rose. You're negotiating? You taught me to, she replied. Junmin almost smiled. Go ahead, he said. 2.5 years, Ebele said. Not indefinite. A fixed contract with a clear end date. 3 years, he countered. 2.5, she insisted. Non-negotiable. He studied her. Why that specific time frame? Because that's when I'm free, she said. He didn't ask what she meant. Fine, he agreed. 2.5 years, 8 million won per month. Permanent visa sponsorship that transfers to independent status when the contract ends. Full medical coverage for your family during and after employment. And one more thing, Ebele added, which is, you stay out of my personal life, she said. No surveillance, no monitoring, no interference. When I'm not working, I'm mine. Junmin's expression hardened. That's not reasonable. Then I leave in 6 months. Ebele interrupted. And you find another assistant who'll tolerate being treated like property. They stared at each other across the desk. Finally, Junmin nodded. Agreed. He slid a new contract across the desk. Ebele read it carefully. Every clause, every term, every exit condition. Then she signed. Chapter 12. The Unraveling. 2 years passed. Ebele became indispensable. She managed Junmin's entire life: schedule, correspondence, negotiations, crisis management. When investors flew in from New York, she coordinated their accommodations. When board members revolted, she drafted the responses. When his father had a stroke, she arranged the medical care. She was efficient, professional, unreachable. Junmin relied on her completely. And somewhere along the way, his watching changed. It was no longer clinical, no longer detached. He watched her the way a man watches something he's terrified of losing. She saw Junha occasionally, always from a distance, always with his wife, Park Arin. He looked older, tired, he'd gained weight. His smiles were rehearsed. He never spoke to Ebele. She wondered if he even remembered her. 3 months before her contract ended, Kang Ji-wook died. Stroke. Quick. Painless, the doctor said. The funeral was massive. Politicians, business leaders, celebrities. A state affair. Junmin delivered the eulogy with perfect composure. Not a tear, not a crack in his voice. But when it was over, he disappeared. Ebele found him an hour later in his office, sitting in the dark, staring at nothing. She hesitated in the doorway. Sir, the reception. Close the door, he said. She did. Everyone's asking for you, she continued. The Prime Minister, the board. I don't care, he interrupted. She'd never heard him say that before. She walked into the room slowly. Are you okay? He laughed, short, bitter. My father just died. No, I'm not okay. I'm sorry. Don't, he cut in. Don't apologize. Don't be professional. For once, just be human. She sat in the chair across from his desk. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. I hated him, Junmin said finally. My whole life, I hated him. And now he's gone and I feel nothing. Just empty. You're in shock, Ebele said gently. I'm relieved, he corrected. And that makes me a monster, doesn't it? It makes you human, Ebele replied. He looked at her. Why did you stay? He asked. You know why. Not the contract, he said. Why did you really stay? You could have run, disappeared. I would have found you, but you could have tried. Ebele was quiet for a moment. Because my family needed me to, she said. And because I made a promise to myself that I'd survive this, that I wouldn't let you break me. Did I? He asked. Break you? She met his eyes. You tried? And failed? I'm still here, she said. So yes, you failed. Junmin smiled, a real smile, small and sad and human. Good, he said quietly. Chapter 13. The Offer. 1 month before Ebele's contract ended, Junmin called her into his office. Sit, he said. She sat. Your contract ends in 31 days, he continued. I know. I want to make you a new offer. Ebele's stomach tightened. We had an agreement, not an extension, he interrupted. A partnership. She frowned. What? Junmin stood, walked to the window. My father's death left a vacuum. The board is circling. Investors are nervous. I need someone I trust at the executive level, not an assistant, a partner. I'm not qualified. You have an economics degree from University of Lagos, he said. You've managed my schedule, my investments, my crises for 2 years. You know this company better than half the board. You are qualified." He turned to face her. "I'm offering you a position as Director of Strategic Operations," he said. 15 million won per month, stock options, a seat in executive meetings, real power. Ebele stared at him. "Why?" "Because you're brilliant," he said. "Because you're ruthless when you need to be. Because you see things no one else sees. Because you want to keep me here," she said. He didn't deny it. "This isn't a cage," he said. "It's an opportunity. You'd have autonomy, authority. You could shape the direction of this company." "Under your control," Ebele replied. "We'd be equals," he corrected. She stood. "We will never be equals, Junmin. You're a Chaebol heir. I'm a Nigerian maid who got lucky. That's reality." "Then change reality," he said. "Stay. Build something. Prove that you're more than what this world tried to make you." "And if I say no?" "Then you're free," he said. "Your contract ends. Your visa transfers to independent status. Your family's medical care continues for 5 years. I'll put it in writing. You owe me nothing." She searched his face for the trap. "There's no catch," he said, reading her expression. "If you leave, you leave. I won't stop you." "Why?" she whispered. He stepped closer. "Because 2 years ago, I trapped you, and you survived. You didn't break, didn't bend, didn't let me turn you into something small, and that—" He paused. "That's the most extraordinary thing I've ever seen." "You don't love me," Ebele said. "No," he agreed. "But I respect you, and that's rarer." She looked at him. This man who'd controlled her life for 2 years, who'd destroyed her chance at freedom, who'd trapped her in silk and gold. This man who was now offering her power. "I need time," she said. "You have 31 days, he replied. Chapter 14. The Visit. 3 weeks before her contract ended, Ebele flew to Lagos. She hadn't been home in 2.5 years. The plane touched down at Murtala Muhammad International just after dawn. The air smelled like rain, and exhaust and frying plantain. The chaos of Lagos, honking donfos, shouting vendors, humidity that wrapped around you like a second skin, felt like slipping into an old shirt. She took a taxi to Surulere. Her mother's house looked smaller than she remembered. The paint was peeling, the gate was rusted, but flowers bloomed in the small front yard. Hibiscus, bougainvillea, her mother's pride. Chidima opened the door. She'd grown, taller, stronger. She was wearing scrubs, nursing student uniform. "Sister!" she screamed. They collided in the doorway, holding each other so tightly Ebele couldn't breathe. Inside, her mother sat in the living room, knitting. She looked good, healthy, color in her cheeks, her hands steady. "Ebele," she said, setting down her knitting. Ebele crossed the room and knelt in front of her mother, pressing her forehead to her mother's hands. "Mama," she whispered. Her mother cupped her face. "My daughter, you've come home." They spent the week together, cooking, talking, laughing. Chidinma told her about nursing school, the long hours, the difficult patients, the joy of helping someone heal. Her mother told her about the church, the neighbors, the small garden she'd started in the backyard. "I'm going to finish school next year," Chidinma said one evening as they sat on the porch, watching the sun set. "And then I'll work. Mama will be okay, sister. You don't have to carry us anymore." Ebele's throat tightened. "I don't mind carrying you." "I know," Chidinma said, "but you've done enough. It's time for you to live for yourself. That night, Ebele lay in her childhood bed, staring at the ceiling. She thought about Seoul, the estate, Junmin's offer. She thought about the girl who'd left Lagos 2.5 years ago, desperate, broke, willing to do anything to save her family. She thought about the woman she'd become, harder, sharper, capable of navigating a world that hadn't wanted her. And she realized something. She didn't want to go back to being the girl who cleaned hotel rooms, but she also didn't want to be the woman who'd lost herself to survive. She wanted to be something else entirely. On her last night in Lagos, her mother called her into the kitchen. "Sit," she said. Ebele sat. Her mother poured her tea. Sweet, milky, the way she'd made it when Ebele was a child. "You're going back," her mother said. It wasn't a question. "Yes," Ebele said, "but you're not sure you should." Ebele looked down at her tea. "Mama, I've been trapped for 2 years. Now I can leave. But the man who trapped me is offering me power, real power, and I don't know if taking it makes me smart or stupid." Her mother was quiet for a long moment. "When your father died," she said finally, "I had a choice. I could collapse or I could survive. I chose survival. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't dignified. But it kept us alive." She reached across the table and took Ebele's hand. "You think this man trapped you?" her mother continued. "But he didn't. Circumstances trapped you. He just gave you a way forward. And now he's offering you another way. The question isn't whether you should take it. The question is, what do you want?" Ebele's eyes burned with tears. "I want to be free." "Then be free," her mother said simply. "Freedom isn't a place, Ebele. It's a choice. You can be free in Seoul or free in Lagos, but you have to choose it." Ebele wiped her eyes. "What if I choose wrong?" "Then you choose again," her mother said. "That's what living is." Chapter 15. The Answer. Ebele returned to Seoul 3 days before her contract ended. She requested a meeting with Junmin. He cleared his schedule immediately. They met in his office, the same office where he'd trapped her 2.5 years ago. "You're back," he said. "I'm back." "Have you made your decision?" Ebele sat across from him. "I have conditions." His eyebrow rose. "More conditions?" "You want a partner," she said. "Not an employee. That means we negotiate as equals." "Go ahead." "I accept the position," she said. "Director of Strategic Operations, 15 million, one per month, stock options. But I also want a contract that allows me to resign at any time with 90 days' notice. No penalties, no clawbacks, no traps." "That defeats the purpose of a partnership." "That's the deal," she interrupted. "I'm choosing to stay. But I'm not choosing to be owned. If you can't accept that, I walk." Junmin studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled. A real smile, the kind she'd only seen once, the night his father died. "Agreed," he said. He slid a new contract across the desk. Ebele read every word, every clause, every exit condition. Then she signed. "One more thing," she said. "Which is? I want Junha released from his marriage." Junmin's expression darkened. "That's not possible." "It is," Ebele interrupted. "Park Aaron has been having an affair with her personal trainer for 8 months. I have proof, photographs, hotel records, text messages." Junmin stared at her. "How did you?" "I'm good at my job," she said simply. "You give Junha the evidence, he files for divorce. Aaron's family won't fight it. They'll want to avoid scandal, and your brother gets his freedom." "Why do you care?" Junmin asked. "Because he tried to save me." Ebele said. Even if he did it badly, and because everyone deserves a second chance. Junmin was quiet for a long time. Then he nodded. I'll handle it. Epilogue. 3 years later. Ebele Nwosu stood in the Kang Group boardroom presenting quarterly projections to 30 executives. She wore a tailored suit. Her hair was natural. Loose curls she'd stopped straightening 2 years ago. She spoke in Korean, English, and occasional Igbo when she took calls from her family. She was brilliant, ruthless when necessary, respected, and she was free. Her contract had no end date, but she could leave whenever she wanted. She chose to stay, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. After the meeting, Junmin caught up with her in the hallway. Good presentation, he said. Thank you. Dinner tonight? We need to discuss the Singapore expansion. Can't, she said. I'm flying to Lagos tomorrow, Chidinma's graduation. He nodded. Give her my congratulations. I will. She started to walk away, then stopped. Junmin. Yes? Thank you, she said, for letting me choose. He smiled. Small, genuine. Thank you for staying. Across the city, in a small apartment in Itaewon, Junha sat at his kitchen table, painting. He discovered it after the divorce, art. Something he'd never had time for when he was pretending to be the perfect second son. His phone buzzed. A text from Ebele. Heard your gallery opening was a success. Proud of you. He smiled. Thank you for everything. He meant it. She'd saved him, not by running away with him, but by refusing to. Sometimes the greatest act of love is letting someone save themselves. And somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean, on a plane headed to Lagos, Ebele Nwosu closed her eyes and felt something she hadn't felt in 3 years. Peace. Not because her life was perfect, but because it was hers. The end. If you could rewrite your past, would you? Or would you choose the scars that made you stronger? Drop your answer below, smash that like button if this hit different, and subscribe so you don't miss the next story about messy choices and beautiful consequences.